This meeting is being recorded.
All right. Hello to everyone and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Carlo Mobilis and I'll be your moderator for this session. I'm pleased to introduce today's speaker, Solutions Architect Rohit Raj. But before I hand over the mic, I do have a few housekeeping items to cover about today's session. Today's session will be recorded and made available on demand. We'll make sure to provide some details at the end. Also, we'd love to hear from you during today's presentation. So if you are on WebEx and have a question for our speaker, please feel free to send it through the WebEx question and answer panel, where our wonderful panelists are ready to respond. For those tuning into our live stream, we thank you very much for joining in as well. Q&A is limited to those via WebEx. However, we will have a post-event Q&A thread over on the Cisco Learning Network community, where you can post any follow-up questions you might have. So without any further ado, I'd like to kick things off by welcoming Rohit. Rohit, over to you.
Hey, thank you so much, Carlo, for a quick introduction. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Like Carlo said, my name is Rohit, and I work as a solution architect for a CX organization. And today I'll be delivering this webinar, which is more on the what's new in the Catalyst SD-WAN 20.14, 7.14, right? And my goal is for you to leave this presentation with an understanding of what's new in this software release that we have for Catalyst SD-WAN 20.14 and iOS XE SD-WAN router that we have for 7.14. And for you to understand the value in upgrading to the latest revision. And there are a lot of useful features that we're going to talk about today. I'm excited to deliver and give you look into the what's new. So a little bit about today's agenda. So there are 4 main topics that we're going to discuss today. We will start with the enhancement that we have under the UX 2.0. Then we will take a look into some of the enhancement that we have under the infrastructure and services side. From there, we will be diving deeper into the operational side enhancement. After that, we'll be taking a look into the security side new enhancement. And lastly, we will have a demo on some of the feature that is related to 20.14, 7.14 software release. So we have a lot of ground to cover. So let's go ahead and dive in. So let's have some glance of the feature that would be discussing during this webinar. Like you see some of the feature that is under the UX 2.0. There are some enhancements that happen with the 20.14, 7.14 release. So you can see the configuration catalog phase 1 that is added as a part of enhancement. And you also have the SD-WAN, you have the monitoring capability from the SD-WAN Manager of your SD-WAN remote access devices, right? So yeah, so that is added with the software release 20.14, 7.14. Then you see the infrastructure and services. We added a couple of enhancements there, which is layer 2 services across the SD-WAN overlay, which is for phase 1 release. And then you see the application catalog enhancement. You also have the multiple NAT DIA method supported with the 20.14, 7.14 software release. On operational side, you see the NWPI integration with the 1000i portal, and that utilizing the underlay measurement tracing services for your internet and underlying insights. So that will give you visibility into the underlay hops. And then it will be very easy to troubleshoot where is the problem. And again, from SD-WAN Manager, you have now the support to upgrade the firmware for the modem that is for your iOS XE based devices. On security side, we have some enhancement on the security dashboard. We will take a look into the during the demo and the presentation as well. And we also added the IPv6 support for UDD, zone-based firewall, and the security policy. And then lastly, we have the Zscaler support for your SSE automation. All right, so this is the first feature that we have under the UX 2.0 is the configuration catalog phase 1. As we already know that with the simplified configuration approach, we move toward the configuration group, which is actually using the feature profile and the parcel that was introduced in the major release 20.9, 7.9. And it uses the configuration workflow to create and deploy the devices and the site. And it is very easy to configure with a few clicks, right? And this section of the UI and UX also has some room for improvement based on the several feedback that we have received from the field and the customer directly. So with this release 20.14, 70.14, we have made an enhancement to the user interface where customer do not need to go through the workflow to start their WAN configuration. And this is offering more flexibility. You don't have to start the workflow to create and deploy the entire work configuration again. So with this release, you're also getting the ability to export and import the configuration group or the security group or the topology group entity directly from one SD-WAN manager, and you can import it to the other SD-WAN manager, right? And once you export it, the exported file will be into the the file format for that file will be the tar.gz file, and we will see during the demo how it's worked. All right, so the next feature is about the SD-WAN remote access monitoring. As you all know that SD-WAN remote access feature was released with the 20.7, 70.7 software release. The Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN remote access, which is SD-WAN RA, is fully integrated with the SD-WAN solution that provide you the remote access functionality into the Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN fabric, that basically extending the benefit of Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN to the remote access user. And the Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN remote access feature, we enable it on the Cisco ISXE Catalyst SD-WAN devices that provide you the remote access hidden functionality, and that is managed through the SD-WAN Manager user interface. So basically, you can deploy the SD-WAN remote access hidden devices that could be to your on-premises, could be located at your hub location or the data center, or you can host into the public cloud as well, like as software devices. You also have the flexibility to host this SD-WAN remote access hidden devices into the co-location facility as well. And when we talk about the evolution of this feature, like I said, we started with 70.7 software release, and this is where we introduced the remote access functionality into our Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN Manager. At this point of time, it was really nascent. I mean, we just had the support for this feature, and we were using the CLI add-on template. Again, we had a further enhancement with the 20.11, 70.11 software release, and we started using the SD-WAN Manager user interface to configure this Catalyst SD-WAN remote access feature for your devices, right? And then again, we had a further enhancement with the software release 20.12, 20.12, and we added the configuration support for devices in SSL VPN mode as well. And with this release 20.14, 70.14, we added the monitoring for your remote access devices. So now from your SD-WAN Manager, you have two new dashboards that provide the monitoring insight into your SD-WAN remote access. So as you can see, like we have two new dashboards here: remote access hidden and the remote access session. So the remote access hidden, that is basically giving you the visibility into the number of how many number of remote access hidden devices that you have in your network, and the supported remote access mode like the IPsec or the SSL VPN or the combination of both. And remote access session, basically that is giving you the visibility into the how many number of remote access session in your network and the session per remote access hidden, and that is categorized into the remote access client type that you can see. All right, so now that we have covered some of the enhancement which is under the UX 2.0, now let's dive into some of the feature that is related to infrastructure and services in the Catalyst SD-WAN. All right, so the first feature that we have from the infrastructure and service side that we have is the layer 2 VPN services. As you all know that the Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN solution that provide the layer 3 services with the security, segmentation, and scalability across the overlay network. But if you are having a legacy system or non-IP based application, then in this case, you will need a layer 2 connectivity. And as of now, we don't support layer 2 connectivity across the Catalyst SD-WAN fabric. But with this release 20.14, 70.14, layer 2 services are now supported within the Catalyst SD-WAN overlay network. And this feature allows you to use the layer 2 VPN in the Catalyst SD-WAN overlay network on the top of the Catalyst SD-WAN tunnel. And it allows you to configure layer 2 point-to-point, point-to-multi-point connection within your Catalyst SD-WAN fabric. So like you see in this slide, we have three sites, site 500, site 500, 501, and 502, right? And every site has the point-to-point connectivity. That is the layer 2 connectivity, right? So once you have this layer 2 connectivity, then the host 1 can communicate to the host 2. That is the host 1 from the 500 site can communicate to the host 2 of the 501 site, right? And similarly, you can see the layer 2 VPN. We can see that point to multi-point connectivity for your site 500 between 501 and 502, and host 1 can communicate to the host 2 and host 3 over the layer 2 multi-point network. So yes, if you are using the legacy application in your SD-WAN network, and if that require a layer 2 connectivity, then with layer 2 VPN support, we have it now with this release in your Catalyst SD-WAN fabric. One thing that hub and spoke topology is currently not supported for layer 2 VPN. For layer 2 VPN feature to work, your SD-WAN should be in full mesh topology, which is the default nature of the SD-WAN. All right, so next feature we have under infrastructure and services is the application catalog enhancement. So we started this application catalog feature from the 20.13, 70.13 software release, and the application catalog in the SD-WAN manager that provide you the visibility and control of your application that is running in your Catalyst SD-WAN environment, which is powered by SD-AVC, right? And the application catalog, which includes the application which are the business critical application, for example, Office 365 or the Google Workspace to the social media platform or the cloud platform or the customer related application. And application catalog is the central place to take care of all of the operational tasks that is related to your application capability, like updating the applications and cloud SaaS feed from the different source, creating the custom applications, viewing the application into the different group, and then creating an application list and many more things that you can do, right? And this feature optimizing the network connectivity based on the specific requirement of the different Kubernetes service. However, it does not support managing the Embark protocol pack and device compliance check with the protocol pack that we have on the SD-WAN manager. So with this release 20.14, 70.14, application catalog is enhanced to simplify the task that is related to Embark protocol pack upgrade, and the policy checker and the serviceability enhancement that is also there, right? So Cisco SD-WAN Manager basically upgrade the protocol pack on the devices if the device software allow you the upgrade, and for for that you can download the protocol pack from the Cisco software download portal, which is software.cisco.com, and upload the new protocol pack software into the SD-WAN manager. And Cisco SD-WAN manager basically automatically check whether each device in the network is using the latest available protocol pack. We call it compliance, and then it will upgrade it if that is required. And in addition to that, it also check the policy and the device protocol pack compliance at the regular interval. Next, we have a policy checker tool that allow basically NetOps and SecOps teams to evaluate and modify the policy based on the latest Embark protocol pack that we upgrade, right? And then we have a custom application which are now supported in the next generation firewall security policy. Whenever you are defining it, you will have the custom policy, custom application. You can create the rule for accordingly. All right, so the next feature we have under the services and infra side, which is IPv6 IPsec GRE tunnel to the third-party devices from the transport VPN. So like you all might be knowing that, with earlier release, which is 20.12, we added the support for IPv6 based GRE or IPsec tunnel from the Cisco ISXE Catalyst SD-WAN device to the third-party devices over the service VPN. And that was basically allowing you to configure the IPv6 GRE or IPsec tunnel over the IPv4 or IPv6 underlay. And there was some limitation that, we were using the CLI based template only to configure this feature, right? Now, as a part of enhancement, we have added the support for IPv6 based GRE or IPsec tunnel from the Cisco ISXE Catalyst SD-WAN device to the third-party devices over the transport VPN. And that also allowing you to configure the IPv6 GRE or IPsec tunnel over the IPv4 or IPv6 underlay. And you also have the configuration support for service side VPN tunnel along with the transport side VPN as well. That means you can configure this feature using the device feature template, or you can also utilize the configuration group or feature parcel to configure this feature from your SD-WAN manager. All right, so next we have the multiple DIA NAT method supported with this release. So as you all knowing that, our current SD-WAN solution do support the NAT DIA, which is direct internet access, which allow the branch side to route the internet or the cloud application based traffic directly from the branch side to the internet, rather than backhauling those traffic to the data center or the hub location. So this is basically allowing the branch user to access the cloud-based application or the cloud service provider directly from the branch side if that branch is having the internet as a transport without having to use up the unnecessary bandwidth. Okay. You can also configure the direct internet access using the data policy, or you can add the NAT DIA route into the service VPN. That could be your VPN 1020 or whatever the service VPN that you have configured in your SD-WAN network. And current SD-WAN solutions support the NAT DIA, which has the limitation where only one NAT method can be used for the dynamic address translation. So let's understand this by an example. So let's say if you have configured the NAT on your physical interface, that is basically uses the NAT overlay. And let's say if you also have configured NAT on your loopback interface, or that you also have the NAT DIA pool. So out of all the NAT method or type that you have available on your router, the source traffic from the service VPN can translate it to one of the IPs among the 3 available NAT methods that you have configured. And like it could be using the NAT configure on the physical interface or the loopback interface or the NAT DIA pool that you have configured. But from this release, 20.14, 70.14 release onwards, now you have the support to selecting the multiple NAT type. That means if you have configured the physical interface, NAT on the physical interface, NAT on the loopback interface, or NAT pool for direct internet access, for that, you will have the flexibility to choose which NAT method that you want to use for which particular traffic that is initiating from your service VPN. And for that, you will have to use the centralized data policy to create the rule which specifically tells which service VPN traffic will use the which NAT type or the NAT method for DIA traffic, which is egressing the edge router. And you also have the options to bypass the NAT altogether. And you also have the ability to configure if any of the traffic that does not matches the NAT DIA pool or whatever the method that you have created in the, the centralized data policy, they will fall back to the default interface that where you have enabled the NAT, right? All right, so let's understand this one example. As you can see in this diagram, we have this router where, we have NAT enabled on the physical interfaces. So there could be a multiple use cases for that. So let's understand this one example. So let's say if you have a corporate VPN configured, like we have demonstrated here the corporate VPN, right? So one of the service VPN you have it, and let's say inside corporate VPN you have a 2 user 1 and user 2, right? So let's say user 1 wants to access the Office 365 application, and you want to utilize the NAT pool that we have created, which is the NAT pool 10, which is mapped to the gigabit Ethernet 1. And let's say if user 2 wants to access the WebEx services, you want to map with the the NAT that we have configured on the physical interface, which is the gigabit Ethernet 1, right? So yes, we can have this flexibility with this software release. So for that, you will have to create the centralized data policy where you can specifically tell the user 1 is your source, and you want to use the NAT pool the NAT pool that you have configured, which is mapped to the gig 1. And for user 2, you can create the rule that will utilize the physical interface that we have enabled the NAT, right? And as a result, both user 1 and user 2 traffic will exit out throughout the gigabit 1 interface by getting translated using the different NAT method that you have configured under the centralized data policy, right? Similarly, if you have the corporate VPN, where the user 1 wants to access the Office 365 application, and you want to use the NAT pool 10 that is mapped to the gig 1, and let's say there is another user under the corporate VPN, which is the user 2, that wanted to access the WebEx services, and you want to use the NAT pool 20, which is mapped with the gig with Ethernet 2, right? So again, you can create a centralized data policy. You can create a rule, and as a result, user one traffic will, who is accessing the Office 365, translate it to the NAT pool 10 and exit out through the gig 1 interface, right? And user 2 traffic will translate it to the NAT pool 20 and exit out through the gig 2 interface, right? And yeah, right. And similarly, let's say if you have a multiple VPN, like multiple service VPN, multiple NAT method on your multiple interfaces. So again, so let's understand this one example. Let's say if you have a corporate VPN or the guest VPN. So one of the user from the corporate VPN that they want to access the Office 365 application, and then you want to use the NAT that we have configured on the physical interface, which is the gig 1. And for the guest VPN, one of the user wanted to access the internet, and you want to utilize the NAT that is configured on the gig 2 interface, right? So again, you can create a centralized data policy, create a rule, and as a result, user 1 traffic will translate it to the interface gig 1 IP addresses that the NAT we have configured, and exit out through the gig 1 interfaces. Similarly, user 3 traffic will translate it to the interface gig 2 IP addresses and exit out through the gig 2 interface, right? Right. And you also have the options to bypass the, NAT altogether. All right. So now let's move on to the operational section. Here we're going to discuss some of the enhancements that we have under the operational side. All right. So the first feature that we're going to discuss today from the operational side is the network-wide path insight and the 1000i integration, right? As we already know that the NWPI, which is the network-wide path insight, is obviously a very good tool, and it was released with the 20.4 70.4 software release. And that basically provide the insight into the network and the summary, and which are like a path insight overview of application performance insight, or the quality of service insight. It also provides the insight into the validating the policy design and insight into the various application performance issues, which actually assist in troubleshooting issues very quickly, right? But all of this model are there, and currently does not support, does not provide you the insight specifically into the underlay path and the performance metric at each, hops, right? Which is a key ask from the field on many of the customer. So with this release 20.14 70.14, we have integrated the 1000i portal with the the SD-WAN Manager, and the network-wide path insight, which present the test result from the Cisco 1000i Enterprise Agent, that basically includes the information in the flow result for you to review and analyze, right? So now with this enhancement, you also have the visibility into each of the hops between the two SD-WAN router, which are on the two different sites. So yeah, so basically SD-WAN Manager, which is on the 20.14, that we're gonna collect and include the test result from the 1000i in your network-wide path insight trace, and you just want to make sure that 1000i is monitoring your networking, right? And for that, you will need to configure your 1000i account information into the Catalyst SD-WAN Manager. We will see like how you're gonna do that. And for that, you will need the user account information for your 1000i portal and auth barrier token information as well to have the integration, right? And in addition to that, make sure that 1000i Enterprise Agent is deployed on the Cisco ISXE Catalyst SD-WAN devices in the service VPN. Other than the transport VPN, which is a VPN 0, or the management VPN, or on another host that is connected to the service VPN. I'll show you during the demo how you're gonna perform this integration and how you're gonna run the network-wide path insight trace. All right, so next feature, we have the iOS XE cellular modem firmware upgrade. So as you already know that, there are a lot of our router platform like ISR 1K, 4K, and Cat 8K, they are modular platform, and they comes with the cellular pluggable interface model, right? And there are a lot of customers who are having large number of cellular devices deployed in their network, and that are managed by SD-WAN Manager. So if there is a need to upgrade the devices with the latest firmware upgrade, as of today, we only perform the firmware upgrade from the CLI only, and that is too manually. Like you will have to upload the latest firmware in every devices and then upgrade it from the CLI only. And of course, this is not a viable option for the customer. That is not as scalable as well, right? because no one wants to get into each of the router individually and upgrade the firmware, and it is time consuming as well. So in order to cater this problem, with this release 20.14 7.14, we can leverage the SD-WAN Manager dashboard to upgrade the cellular modem firmware of your SD-WAN ISXC devices that has the cellular modem feature, right? For that, you will need to download the latest firmware update from your software.cisco.com portal, and you also have the option to set the notification to inform you when there is a new firmware upgrade is available for your devices. And once you have the notification, you can download the latest firmware upgrade file from the software.cisco.com portal and then upload into the SD-WAN Manager, and then you can perform the software upgrade. One thing to remember, like, once you download the firmware upgrade file from the software.cisco.com portal, don't change the file name, because devices uses the same file name to determine which firmware upgrade file are relevant to it, right? And firmware downgrade is not supported by the Catalyst SD-WAN Manager. All right, so the next section we have for enhancement under the security section. Let's understand what are the features we have it. So first feature, we have the security dashboard new enhancement. So as we already know that the Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN security that provides the end-to-end security for your network and user. And many of you might have adopted the Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN security stack, whether on-premises hosted or the cloud hosted. With software release 20.12, 70.12, we introduced the new security operational dashboard with the ability to view end-to-end security stack in a summarized view. And that includes the ability for a firewall rule hit, and also you can go drill down to the device level for the security investigation and the threat detection, right? With this release, you will have a new dashboard, which is give you the visibility into your UTD based policy if you have it, right? And for that, you will have the security appliances or the UTD container dashlet that is basically adding to the monitoring of health status of the firewall and UTD component, which is like IPS, advanced malware protection, and Cisco URL filtering. And we also have the application offload dashlet, which is basically giving you the how much traffic is going on the SIG or the secure service edge tunnel or the direct versus the direct internet access tunnels, right? So we will see during the demo, like what are these new enhancements that we have for the security dashboard. All right, so the next feature, we have the IPv6 support for your UTD-based policies, zone-based firewall, and the security policy, right? So as you know, many of the customers are transitioning to the IPv6 or using a combination of both, like IPv4, IPv6 dual stack solution for their growing network and rapidly changing the requirement. So before 70.14, 20.14, in Catalyst SD-WAN, advanced inspection profile like the IPS, URL filtering, advanced malware protection, that was supported inspecting the IPv4 traffic only, but not the IPv6 traffic. This means the IPv6 network were not able to get the inspected and logged, but could not go through the advanced inspection using the UTD engine, right? And currently, user cannot create the security policy or the rule that is matching the IPv6 traffic selector with the advanced security inspection enabled, right? And with this release 20.14, 70.14, this feature is added. Like you can have the IPv6 support for UTD feature that includes the configuration, which is the inspecting the IPv6 traffic, which is more on the IPS, IDS, URL filtering, file analysis, alerting, logging, and other UTD related information. You have it, right? We will see during the demo, like, how you're going to create the policy for that. So one thing that there is a limitation here, like we don't support SSL and TLS decryption, which is for IPv6 UTD based policy. And this feature is only supported with the SD-WAN Manager UX 1.0, which is for your unified security policy. All right, so this is the last feature that is from the security section and from the presentation as well. So this is more on the automation that we have added for GScaler, which is the for your SSE. So like we had from the software release 20.13, and 20.12 release, we introduced the new simplified and centralized controller-based method for automating and provisioning the SSE tunnel for your direct internet access use cases, right? And this was only supported for Cisco Secure Access, right? And with this release, we have added the support for GScaler as well. As a part of enhancement, you have the ability to create a SSE tunnel automatically for your GScaler cloud as well, right? Which is support IPsec and GI both, right? And the tunnel count is also increased from the 4 active, 4 backup to the 8 active and 8 backup. All right, so now that we have covered the presentation part, let me just move to the demo setup so that I can show you some of the feature, like how you're gonna configure it, right? All right, so this is the vManage dashboard, like SD-WAN Manager dashboard that we'll be using for today's demo to showcase you like a couple of features that we discussed during the presentation part, right? So first of all, let me just show you the software version of this SD-WAN Manager. So simply you can see the right-hand side on the very top, we have a question mark here. And you can just click on that, go to the About section, and you will see the platform version, which is a software version. 20.14.1, right? Okay, so let's take a look into the first enhancement that we have under the UX 2.0, which is the configuration catalog phase 1 enhancement, right? So you can go to the configuration and configuration group, right? So what you can do basically, whatever the configuration group that you have created, you can now have the support to export this configuration and then import into the different SD-WAN manager, right? Or maybe you can use into the same SD-WAN manager as well, right? So you have this one so that you don't have to configure or use again and again this workflow, right? And when you export this one, like when you export this one, you will have the flexibility to choose like which one you want to export it. Like you want to export the configuration group, or if you want to the policy group as well. So let's say if you want to export the configuration group and policy group both, you can select both one. And you can also export the topology group as well. So as you can see, I don't have any topology group here configured, and simply click on export, right? So whenever you start the export action or the import action, that will generate the SD-WAN manager task, right? That you can view under this this 3 bar that you can see, like the active task and the completed task, right? And every export entity has the same, some metadata JSON associated with it, and it contains like a software version of manager, like SD-WAN manager, and entity version that will help in importing the same entity into the another SD-WAN manager, right? And let's say if you have exported that one, that will go into your download folder, right? Similarly, you can go to the import as well, and you can do the import as well, right? So you see the file name, which is start with the export hyphen today's date and timestamp that you can see, and the file format is the tar.gz, okay? And once you do that, you can click on open here, and it will start the activity to importing this one, okay? So once you start the activity, you can also monitor like, what is the progress of this import activity. And if something is getting failed, so those kind of things you can see here, okay? So this got failed because, we already have you can see the error message here, the configuration group with the name demo-cz already existed. That's why it's throwing the error. It did not imported it. So whenever you are exporting and importing it, make sure that there is no name class in that SD-WAN manager. So make sure that you are using a unique name to export and import it, right? So that's what it is basically. That's why it's throwing it here, because I already have the demo configuration group already here, and which cannot be imported in this. And I don't have any other overlay to show you. I'm just showing you how you're gonna do that, okay? So next enhancement that we have under the UX 2.0, which is you have the monitoring support available from your SD-WAN manager for the feature that we already have it, SD-WAN remote access, right? So by default, if you scroll a little bit down, you will not see the remote access monitoring from your SD-WAN dashboard. For that, you will have to edit your dashboard. How you're gonna do that? Simply click on the action icon here and go to the edit dashboard, right? So once you click on edit dashboard, you will have the options to add dashlet. Go to the add dashlet, and the right hand side you will have the dashlet which is not added in your SD-WAN manager monitoring overview main dashboard, right? So you can see we have the remote access session, right? So that is basically when you click on that, it basically gives you the visibility into the how many number of remote access session in your network that we have it, and the session per remote access hidden, and that is categorized into the remote access client. Like you can see if it's a IPsec any connect client, or if it's a SSL based any connect client, right? So whatever it is there, and you also see the top 5 hidden devices that is generating the hidden devices based on the the remote access sessions, right? Similarly, you will also have the remote access hidden bar chart. You can see it, right? So that is basically giving you the visibility into the how many SD-WAN edge devices in your SD-WAN overlay that are configured for remote access hidden, and that supports the what remote access mode, like it's IPsec, version 2, or SSL VPN, or the combination of both that you can see. So let's say if you want to add it into your the monitor overview main dashboard, you can just simply select both of them and click on add, and then click on save. Once you do that, you can go to the monitor and overview, scroll a bit down, and you will have this one. I don't have the this feature configured, that's why I don't have any data, right? But if you have configured, if you have the data, you can monitor from, you can add it and then you can monitor it, right? All right, so the next things that we'll take a look into the security enhancement, which is the security dashboard. So let me switch to this second SD-WAN manager dashboard, where I can show you some data that we have available. So you can go to the security dashboard here, right? And if you scroll a little bit down, okay, so you will see the application offloading and this security application UTD container monitoring, right? So so what you see here, this basically giving you the ability to see like UTD container health from the security operational dashboard. And it also giving you the visibility into the health status of the next generation firewall container, which is the UTD, and the security process that is running on the devices. And if you see anything in red, that means the configured service has some problem. And if you see if the services are in green, that means it's good to go, right? There's no problem with the configured services, right? So that's what it is. And then you have an application offload that basically giving you the chart view, which is how much traffic is going over the SIG tunnel or the SSE versus the direct internet access. So you have the option, you can filter it out, and you can see the how much traffic is going on the direct internet circuits or the SIG or SSE tunnel, right? You can also drill down to that. You can click on view, and then you can see like, what are the applications that is accessed, what is the bytes, what is the ingress interface and egress interface, those kind of things you can monitor it, right? Similarly, for your security application UTD container, you can click on view here, and then you can see the UTD container health for your devices where we have hosted, right? So those kind of things you can monitor it. One more thing is added as a part of enhancement for your IPS feature. So you can see we already have the IPS monitoring added in your security dashboard. What we have added in 20.14, which is the IPS signature hyperlink. So let's understand what it is. So simply you can just click on the view detail here, and you see like, the high risk IPS event occurrence and the medium risk IPS event occurrence. So you can click any of them, right? And you have this one. And you can see the signature ID here. So once you click on this ID here, it will redirect to you the snot page where you can read more about that rule categories and all, right? So this was added as a part of enhancement for your IPsec signature hyperlink, right? Right. So next thing that we're going to discuss about, like, how do we integrate the 1000i test result into your SD-WAN manager so that you can run the NWPI network wide path to include into the NWPI trace, right? So for that, what you need to go, I'll go to this overlay, and then I'll show you like what things you have to do it. First of all, you will just need to go to the administrator here from the main dashboard and go to the setting here and then search for ThousandEyes, right? So you will see the ThousandEye user API token and then click on the ThousandEye user API token here and click on the plus icon here. And it will require you to provide the username information, which is that you are using for ThousandEye portal access, right? And then you also need the barrier token from the ThousandEye portal that we have it. Let me show you how you're gonna get the barrier token. So I'll just open the ThousandEye dashboard and click on the single sign-on here. I'll use my email address to log in here. So allow me a couple of minutes to get it logged in. All right, so I'm logged into the ThousandEye dashboard here. And after that, once you log in here, so you can simply go to the account setting here on the bottom. You can see I'm just hovering my mouse. Under the account setting, you will have the users and role. Go to the users and role. And inside that, you will have a 3 tab here, profile, roles, and user. You will have to, you will be by default directly redirected to the profile tab. Don't go to any other tab here and little bit scroll it down and you will see here the authentication barrier token. You can just simply create that one and it will be generated. You can copy that one and go to your SD-WAN Manager dashboard. Give the username that you are using to access the ThousandEye portal. I'll just give my user ID and then the barrier token that I just generated it. Once you do that, click on save here and then it's done. It will be reachable, right? So you see on the bottom message successfully we have added the ThousandEye user API token and which is updated successfully. Once that is done, you can, if you have the ThousandEye Enterprise hosted on one of your iOS XE based devices, you can create the NWPI trace and include the test result into that as well. How are you gonna do that? Let me just show you. Simply you can go to the tool and under tool we have the network wide path inside here and you can just create a new trace here. Inside that you can fill out all of these options. Little bit scroll it down. After filling all of these options, go to the advanced setting. Under advanced setting, you have the ThousandEye agent. Just select that one. And if you have hosted any agent on your any of the SD-WAN iOS XE router, it will pop up here. So you can just simply select that agent here and then go to the monitoring setting. Under monitoring setting, you just have to enable the ThousandEye insights. Once you do that, you can stack the trace, right? And you will have the test result also included into the this NWPI trace, right? And once you run it, let me show you like how the data will looks like. So I'll go to this overlay because I have already run the test on here. So you see here, I'll show you the inside summary. So it's basically once you click on that, you will see the ThousandEye insight where you will see, scroll a bit down, you will see like 2 SD-WAN routers, how many hops are there, you can see, right? And this is how you can include the ThousandEye test result into your NWPI trace, right? All right, so next feature that we're gonna discuss about like how you're gonna upgrade the firmware for your SD-WAN iOS XE cellular modem based devices, right? So for that, you can just simply go to the maintenance here, go to the software repository, and let's say if you have a centralized remote server where you are, maintaining your all of the firmware or the new updated software files, right? So you can add that remote server. So simply you can do that. How are you gonna do that? Click on Add Server, give the server name, IP address, and what kind of protocol that you are using it, FTP, SCP, whatever you are using, you can select it, give the port number, and if you have any credential, you can give the username and password, and where it is located on that remote server. So you can give the specific path and how it is reachable to the vManager. Is it reachable through the VPN 0 or is it reachable through the management VPN? So you can just give here. I'll just edit my setting here and show you like, what is I have given here. So I just given the server name, which is firmware server. some random IP address just to show you like how you're going to add the remote server. And what is the protocol that I'm using? It is SCP, port number, credentials, and where it is located on that remote server and how it is reachable to my SD-WAN manager. Once you do that, you can click on save. It will be added here. Next thing is that you will need to download the latest firmware for your correct device from the software.cisco.com portal and then upload into the remote server, right? And next, you can go to the workflow here, and then you have under the workflow, we have a firmware upgrade. From there, you can schedule the schedule, or you can do the firmware upgrade at the same time, right? All right. So next thing is that let's see how do we create the security policy, which is for your IPv6 addresses, right? So for that, let's go to the security, go to the configuration here, and then go to the security here, right? And you can start the workflow from here by clicking on the add. Sorry, that is not possible through the, So from 20.14, 7.14, we added the support for IPv6 for your UTD-based, the policies and all. So you can just simply click on add unified security policy, and from there you can start the workflow. Okay, so let's say if you want to create a next generation firewall rule, so simply click on new rule, give the rule name here. Let's say I'll give the IPv6 inspect, and I'll just copy and paste description here. You can give the description whatever it is you want to set it, right? You can set the default action like drop or pass, whatever you want to set it based on your requirement and the use case. I'm just showing you in the workflow how you're going to create it. And then click on add rule, right? Under that, click on add rule, give the rule name here. So for example, let's say give the IPv6 inspect IPv6 traffic, and what is the type? So you have the options IPv4 and IPv6. You can select the IPv6 here, and what action do you want to check? So let's say if I want to check the inspect, you can select the inspect. You want to get the log as well on your log server. For that, you will have to add the log server detail on the summary of the page, and then the advanced inspection profile. So if you already have created the advanced inspection profile, it will pop up here. If not, then you can create it. I'll show you how you're going to create it, right? So you can select that one from here, and then the source addresses, right? So you can give the source addresses, like let's say I'm going to give this particular address. Whatever the IPv6 addresses that you have as a source address, you can give it, right? I'll just give it some random number here, and then the destination address, right? So if you have created the object as well, you can just select it from here. If not, then you can create it and then select it there, right? So let's say I'll just give right. So I just given the source and destination address, protocol my any, and application list is any, and then you can click on save, right? Once that is done, on the bottom you will see like the here. Let me just little bit. Yeah, on the bottom you will see the save unified the security policy. Once you click on that, you will have to specify the zone pair, like inside zone and the outside zone. Simply click on the zone pair, and if you have already created the zone list like you used to create for your IPv4, so let's say if I have created the source zone, that is my inside zone, and the destination zone is my outside zone. You can also create it if you have not created by clicking on this zone list, and then give the zone name and the VPN number for your source and destination one by one. Okay. So once you have selected the zone pair, you can click on save, right? And click on next here. And similarly, you can, go next. On the bottom, you have the next here. And then give the security policy name here, right? So which is a summary. I'll just give the IPv6 policy demo, and I'll just copy and paste the description here. You fill out all this information if that is needed, and then on the bottom you have the preview option to see like what you have configured in a CLI view, right? So you can preview it, and then on the bottom you will have the save option here. So you can just simply click on the save, right? Once you do that, the policy will be created here. Okay. Similarly, let's say if you want to create the the advanced inspection profile, how you're gonna do that? Let me show you. Simply go to the custom option here, and then you have a policy profile here. And one by one, you can go to the here you can go to the advanced malware protection or the URL filtering, IPS, and the advanced inspection profile. From there, you can create it, right? Simply by clicking on this new advanced inspection profile, give the profile name, description, IPS policy that you have configured, or the URL filtering rule that you have configured, or the advanced malware protection that you have configured, right? So currently we don't support TLS and SSL description for your UTD-based IPv6 protocol, right? So once you do that, you can save it. Later on, you can create the policy as well, right? All right, so this is what the demo I wanted to cover. Okay, let me switch back to the presentation part to show you a couple of more slides. All right, so this slide is listing out all of the resources that is related to today's presentation. I'll be pasting all of this link in the chat as well, right? With that, thank you all for joining these sessions. Let me pass the ball to Carlo. Carlo, you there?
Yes, thank you very much, Rohit. Do apologize. Got a little hiccup on the
No problem.
audio unmute option, but awesome, great presentation. If you have a question, please go ahead and put it in the Q&A panel, and we can go through those questions as they become available. Rohit, I do have a question. I saw the user was wondering if there's a roadmap for new updates, as they seem to have a few bugs that they found in this release. So would you have any updates on future release or where to get that information?
Yeah, so roadmap that you can get it from the Sales Connect portal. I'll just share out the link right in the chat so
Gotcha.
that you will have the visibility what's in the roadmap. Yeah.
Perfect. Now, there's one statement in the chat. I don't know if that's actually a statement or a question, but Lewis, maybe you can go ahead and elaborate if you have a specific question in here. He just makes a comment that in this version, there are some differences or improvements compared to the integration with ACI and DNA. So I guess
there's no enhancement has done on the integration on the ACI and DNA side with this version. Yeah, that is not there. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. I don't see any other questions. Maybe the other question that I typically would see is if this session will be recorded and if the slides will be made available. And yes, this session is being recorded. We'll have the edited version on the Cisco Learning Network. You'll receive an email as you exit that will direct you to the post-event discussion thread. And in there, there's a link to where on the Cisco Learning Network site where you can review previous recordings along with today's recording. You'll also see a link in that post-event discussion thread that points to the live stream of today's event. And once you exit, actually, if you can't wait for the edited version, the live stream unedited version will be made available immediately after we exit the session. So definitely do bookmark that once you get that email. And you know what? Let me go ahead. I'll paste it right now into the chat, so you'll have those. So definitely bookmark those. There you go. And I'll upload a copy of the slide deck there as well too. It'll be a downloadable PDF. As Rohit mentioned, you'll see the resources that he has listed at the end of those slides uploaded. All right, Rohit. Oh, yeah, they were wondering if you can just paste the software SD-WAN links in here. Do you got a chance? You got a second to just paste it in the chat, Rohit, by any chance?
Yeah, let me just paste it. Just give me 1 minute.
All right. So while we give them a minute to paste that, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. Again, if you do have a question for this, for Rohit or any of the content, I do encourage you to go ahead and join that post-event discussion thread on Cisco Learning Network. Rohit monitors that page. I monitor that page along with various other Cisco community members. we'd be more than happy to help answer your question. Rohit, is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up?
No, that's it. Thank you, everybody, for joining this session.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you again, everyone. At this time, you'll be directed to a survey, so we do encourage you to take the time to participate. Please do let us know how everything went, any future topics you'd like discussed, and any just regular feedback that is always welcomed. Thank you again for joining us today, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.